Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics, and today we have another video that I call Books My Daughter Picked, except I made I picked something specific out of it once she picked the box that she picked, and I'll explain. As regular viewers of the channel may know, once in a while I have my daughter pick a box, then I'll flip the lid and she'll go like this and pick a comic book, and I will do a video based on what she picks. Therefore, random books my daughter picked. However, I was watching videos not too long ago, and for those that are familiar with Steve Driscoll, Comics with Stevie D, great guy. You should be watching him. He's awesome. He's a trumpet player. He's an ex-music teacher. He's great. You should be watching him. He showed a book on his channel just before I did this thing with my daughter. And one of the books he showed, I realized was in this box. So I decided to pick that series to do. And this was the book that Steve had shown. Lois Lane 1, the alternate cover B, for lack of a better phrase, of the 2019 miniseries. So I decided to do this video on the 2019 miniseries. I'm not going to do major details because I want you to read it, but this one was actually quite significant because it crossed with another miniseries going on at the time called Event Leviathan. And that was also a bigger book that actually included more of the detective-oriented characters in DC Universe, and Lois Lane was considered one because she is an investigative reporter. So let's do a little bit of a background first. We all know Lois Lane made her debut in Action 1, along with Superman and some of the other elements that are, today a big part of the Superman mythos. And so she has been around for over 80 years, except for, she has also been in love with Superman for the vast majority of this period, the exception being the New 52, where they broke up their marriage and Superman dated Wonder Woman, and Lois Lane had her own relationships. So they were good friends, but they were never together. Luckily to me, that was the worst part about the New 52. Lois and Superman should always be together. She's had a long, extensive history in comics. Apart from being part of the Action and Superman since day one, she had her own series called Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane that ran 137 issues, and then got folded into Superman Family, where she continued to have single issues. Specified stories just for her during that run, as well as backup stories in the first 8 issues of The Daring New Adventures of Supergirl, which came out in 1982, right after Superman Family finished. But for a while, she took a back burner and was only really part of the Superman stories for a while. She did get her own miniseries not long after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, with John Byrne writing it. There was 4 issues back in 1987, I believe. But what we're going to refer to here is the Lois Lane maxi series of 12 issues from 2019 to 2020. The story arc is known as Enemy of the People. And this is a story that shows Lois Lane has uncovered one of the most dangerous secrets of the entire DC universe. This secret can be a threat to Superman, who of course is her husband, and so therefore she takes a big part of being involved in this, and is a plot that also reaches the highest level of international power brokers that she finds out through Events Leviathan, which again is a separate story series, which I recommend everybody read. It was a 6-issue miniseries with a special to wrap things up afterwards. Basically, for the entire run, the writer was Greg Ruchka, and the art was done by Mike Perkins, who did pencils and inks. This storyline, by the way, is so full of turns and surprises that I could not do more than a very brief outline of each issue, because otherwise I would be deep diving to the point that I'm just reading the issue to you and I want you to read this for yourself. So the individual issue um, explanations I'm going to give here are a little truncated because read this story. It has been collected in 2 paperbacks, 1 to 6, 7 to 12, and I think they're thinking of putting it out in one big little thing of 1 to 12 because this is a damn good story. So the secondary character that they use in a lot of this is the question Renee Montoya. So I will be using the words question and Renee interchangeably like I do with a lot of the other hero books. Okay? Issue 1. Lois speaks with the question. A photo is discovered of Lois kissing Superman, which is bad because the world at large doesn't know Superman is Clark Kent, and Lois is married to Clark, and that's public knowledge. Issue 2. The world talks about the Lois Superman versus Lois Clark thing. It's becoming the gossip issues of the day. You know, everybody in the is using it as cannon fodder in the what the hell they call those papers. You know, the ones that all the paparazzi do. The word's escaping me, but you get what I mean. The trash papers they call them. Here is Lois Lane, issue 3. Tabloids. Lois isn't happy that Clark shows up with her. Oh my God. With her dressed as Superman, as it only fuels the fire towards the affair rumors. Basically, she tells him, "Don't see me as Superman right now." This has the tagline on issue 4 of Lois, Shadow of the Question. Number 4. John tells her about being asked to join the Legion of Superheroes. That's another part that's going on in Superman comics at the time of this. She begins to wonder if the international organization of Checkmate is involved. And Checkmate, by the way, is part of the event Leviathan, and that's why it's part of this story. Lois tells the question a big secret, but it's not revealed what it is. Issue 5 of Lois Lane. This issue focuses more on the question and her investigation parts in this one. Lois Lane is regulated to a bit of a backup role in this issue. At this point, issue 6, Event Leviathan has finished. So issue 6 begins the aftermath of what's happened during that event. Basically, she's at the funeral of her father. Lucy is not handling it well, her sister. And it turns out that Sam Lane was told about Clark before he died when he found out about the affair and went and confronted Lois, and Lois had to tell him that Clark is Superman to shut him up. And then he died shortly after. Issue 7. The question stops paparazzi from taking pictures of Lois and Superman because Superman again approaches her in costume. But we still don't know at this point what the secret was that she divulged to the question, and that is mentioned quite a bit in this book. Issue number 8. Lois has Superman pose with the cops in Chicago so that people think she's just there doing her job and that she's not there to be with Superman. Again, the whole story on the surface is about this supposed affair between Lois and Superman, but the things inside are much deeper, and I don't want to talk about them because I want you to read the series. Yes, I focus on that, but this again, this has been around for 5 years now, right? So spoilers, so to speak, are a moot point. But I'm part of my channel is I want you to think, oh, this looks cool to read. I want to read it myself. Lois Lane 9. Lois sends Renee for Batman's help because she's found something that they can't handle on their own. And again, it's looking more and more like checkmate might be involved. Issue 10 has what I say is the coolest cover of the run. For those that collect skull covers, here's a nice one for you to get. Not only is it a skull cover, it's in the three color that I really like, the red, white, and black. So this is one that I would be thinking about putting on my wall if I had a place really to put on my wall. Issue 10 is the revelation that there is a multiverse to the members of some of the public. And Renee, the question is shot. That's one of the big parts of the secret, that there is a multiverse, because people are also not realizing that the Lois Lane they know. Basically, what Rebirth is the new 52 world after Doomsday Clock restored most of the previous timeline. The difference, though, is so it's mostly the same people. But we all know that the Superman from New 52 passed away, and that the Superman that we remember from previously, the New 52, which was another universe, is the current Superman, as is the Lois, because the Lois Lane from the New 52 also passed on. Here's another three color one, Lois Lane 11. Apparently, only Batman and Superman before this started going out actually knew about the universe of the multiverse, and so that Checkmate's little forays into this was. And issue 12, another three color, only this time it's purple. The final episode of this thing, the final issue. The ending will completely surprise you because it's absolutely nowhere it was going. I tell you, this thing was like a twist and turn. You have to read everything. When I read it first monthly, it was hard to retain everything. So when this issue came out, I took them all out and reread everything bang, bang, bang again. And it made a lot more sense, which is how I recommend you do it too. And they still don't answer the question at the end about Checkmate's involvement. That's why I said it's so twisty and turny. There's some serious red herrings in this story, but it makes it interesting as far as I'm concerned because of that. This is a fun series if you are a fan of Lois Lane. This isn't the Lois Lane trying to get married Superman that everybody knows. This is a fantastic, strong character who's always been great, and I've always been a big fan of. And probably after Supergirl and Superman, my biggest favorite character from the Superman mythos. Thank you very much for this. If you like what I've done today, please like, comment, and subscribe below. As I said, go check out Stevie D. Steve Driscoll is awesome. I'm going to put his link in the description below so that you can go check him out. He's been a guest on my live show a couple times, and he's just a genuinely nice person, which there are not enough of out there anymore. Thank you very much for joining me today. As I said, please like, comment, subscribe below if you like this. Tell me what you thought. If you don't like it, tell me also that. I want to know why you didn't like it. I just want to know everything about everybody's opinion. That's how comic books work. Part of it is reading, part of it is talking about it. Thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Matt, and I like comics, and I hope you do too. Have a good day.